NoFap. He was like trying, because I was feeling like I guess you'd call it depressed, but I was just kind of feeling dissatisfied.
Tyler and I both subscribed to it. I was the first one to like really successfully do it. I was leading that trend.
This is hilarious. This is reminding me of like this old Seinfeld episode. I believe it was banned, but it was the contest.
Yeah, like Kramer stops masturbating, and all of a sudden he's like lifting a ton of weight. He's like bringing home a bunch of women.
But it was like controversial because it was the first time that like a woman was depicted masturbating, or even like the mere mention, of her masturbating.
Yeah.
Well, for those of us joining. Like,
are we jumping off right now?
We might as well.
Okay.
Hey, let's dive in.
So explain this NoFap.
NoFap is willingly not masturbating to increase testosterone, which will in turn make you superhuman and better at everything and raise you in the social food chain.
It's gonna like align your chakras.
Yeah, you're gonna open up your third eye and your fourth eye.
You're gonna feel reborn.
Yeah.
Yeah, the meme surrounding it.
Like a snake oil salesman.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I was just lied to.
He weaves bullshit.
I feel like you told the truth just now.
Yeah, you feel like you told the truth, but he was telling you flat out lies.
Mm-hmm.
He was fooling you. Well, the thing is like
I made up NoFap on the way here.
Oh right. Yeah.
Damn, you're good.
Okay, so this is targeted towards people who
white 20-year-old males on Reddit and the internet.
It feels like an insult
not
thing.
Exclusively white people though, but
yeah,
I don't know. White specifically
because it's Reddit.
Being racist here. Okay.
Yeah, because it's Reddit. Do you go on Reddit?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I only stick to like my own like little subreddits, but
same
I don't really venture off too much.
Then I should say like males, young males, teens to early 20s.
They just like live at home.
Yeah, like kind of like just like guys that are like having a hard time getting on their feet. Like people who are like looking for like some reason to like feel shame. It's a lot like of like I kind of like see Christianity and Catholicism as like a very shameful religion. Not like to be it is like shameful, but it's like filled with shaming.
Oh, well, the whole premise of it is shame.
Yeah,
it's literally like prostration.
But it's
prostration
almost
before God.
I mean, from what I've learned, doing my own personal research and the stuff that gets put out there and causes controversy, is just a weird relationship between almost trying to like mask the idea that they themselves partake in like certain like salacious relationships and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then again, they denounce it, so it's really confusing.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, and everybody masturbates, and everybody has masturbated. So, and it's like easy, like even like you're saying, snake oil salesman, like, or like some sort of like motivational speaker can be like, you just gotta stop masturbating, bro, and then it's all gonna work out for you. And so like these guys.
Well, the implication is just that everybody does it, and that's the reason
exactly
why everybody's so like feeling such a disconnect now, and so just they have like no spirit anymore,
And like it kind of like even talked about that, like that kind of like gave me the comparison of dieting. Like when you diet, like you're like looking at what you're eating and you're like thinking about it, and then later you'll think about it more. And like when you think about like how your like cognition works and like how you like process things,
connected.
You'll do that more often. Like when you like have that in your mind, you'll like think about how you do everything.
It's more of a sense of being aware and this is I think what you're getting at. It's a sense of awareness about your physicality, a sense of being, and also it's trying to be. And I think the comparison between Christianity here is it's trying to enforce a sort of element of chasteness, level of self-restraint, self-control, and trying not to give into your baser temptations. And I feel like that there is a comparison there with religiosity, with Christianity. But I feel like the problem with NoFap is that, and the meme behind NoFap is that it's a cure-all. As if you were to give up your masturbation, your chronic masturbation, all of your problems would be solved. The shroud over your life, the negativity, the depression that you feel,
Yeah, like
would totally
that's
evaporate.
literally the root of, you know.
Well, you wouldn't have any kids floating around, so that would lend to me personally.
Yeah.
I know I ain't got no kids going out there, so
I was wondering if there was any sort of like ulterior motive, I guess, as to why it would be, you know, like maybe like the whole not depopulation, but just sort of keeping population control. You know, I was wondering if there's anything behind that, but then I thought, you know, I don't know.
I would actually say that it's the opposite.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Because-
it's probably the opposite because you're creating. I mean, like you remember how you were when you were a virgin, or I mean, I'm sorry. That's
Let's
the
not go
wrong.
there.
Yeah, no.
I know how I am when I haven't
you're,
been masturbating
not
or I haven't
sexual.
fucked for a while.
Yeah.
I don't.
I know what
I
you're
didn't mean
saying.
it like that.
No, I
I
know
meant
what you're
to
saying.
like you hadn't done anything sexual.
Right. As in,
Like
you're totally innocent, sexually
totally
innocent.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the argument then is just it's almost just like being a kid again.
It is, yeah.
Just retaining kind of sort of that youthfulness or regaining, being in it, like reintroduced to like your yourself before you were, you had all those problems.
Yeah.
Well, there's also definitely like people who are addicted to like masturbation and
Absolutely.
like porn in general. Like I saw this thing today, and it was on Reddit. It was on an Ask Reddit thing where they're talking about like small things that you could do that are short and that could improve your day to day that you just can't do, even though it takes like a minute. And they're talking about making their bed, and the person put, it's been 45 years and I've never taken any time to make my bed. And like somebody commented, like, I did the math, and if it took 2 minutes every day for your entire life to make your bed, you would have spent 22 days making your bed altogether. So like maybe if somebody masturbates every day and it takes like 10 to 15 minutes, like think about that time adding up. That's like hours quickly.
Yeah.
So like even like gaining back that time. So I'm kind of an advocate for NoFap because I participated for a long time in NoFap, kind of on and off.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But you do feel like you benefited from it.
I like. It's definitely placebo. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely.
Well, yeah, you exactly. Like if you want to like get better, become a better person.
And even like the negative effects become placebo after being exposed to it. You know what I mean? Like after knowing that there's like a negative thing that happens when this happens, and then all of a sudden like I feel like a drain or like a negative energy afterwards.
Yeah. And I feel this is the distinction that I want to make here is I think that there's a functional difference between NoFap and no porn, because I think that I think that there is, without a doubt, there is a negative aspect to chronic pornography consumption.
Yeah,
And It definitely, and this is why I'm against NoFap, is because I have tried NoFap. I've multiple times tried it, and I have gone anywhere between like in my span a week to 2 weeks of NoFap, right? And every time I feel good for the first week, and then the second week I feel like this insane libido, and of course my situation, it's totally frustrated, so it makes me just feel like a carnivorous lust that is totally displaced, right? And it actually makes me feel insane. It makes me feel like it makes me feel insane. Literally, I cannot describe it.
I'm sure there's a cap to that. Like I'm sure that's a wall. You know what I mean? Just like running.
Yeah.
You feel like, holy shit, I can't breathe. My chest's fucking burning, and then you figure out how to push through that, and you got another fucking few miles left.
Right.
So maybe there's just something to it. Like I fucked with it on and off as well. And I've experienced what you're talking about as well. I don't know. I've just never like cognitively like engaged it to the point where you go past that wall.
Yeah, you
Right.
maybe haven't like breaking through yet. You got to give it another try.
Yeah.
Just like live through that carnivorous phase, just like
Yeah. How about this? I'll do it and we'll report back. All right.
There we go.
Starting this moment.
there we go.
We'll see. Well, and you'll see in the next podcast, you'll hear the change in my voice. It'll be
No, I mean, I just can't help, man. I mean, I don't know what this says about me, but I really can't help wondering, is this good for society? I mean, as a whole, just already, especially in this hypersexualized world we live in, now more than ever, man. You look at, the movies and what's being sort of normalized,
right.
and yeah, it's just weird just to think about. Like, I can't imagine, like, I mean, not to saying, jacket every day or whatever, but I mean, just like I have a wife to like, I have a relationship to nurture.
Right. Absolutely.
I can't. I mean, is this like straight up just like against fapping?
Yes.
Just like specifically, or just like nutting?
Like full on. There's like
Yeah.
against porn. There's like a couple of different like code words for like all the actions. Like there's like climaxing.
Because this is
masturbating,
definitely not something that you can. I mean, you can't sustain a relationship. Like, I'm telling you, flat out.
while
like-
actively masturbating regularly.
No. Just.
No. There is rules beyond that. There's
Okay.
even like rules for what's the wet dreams and shit like that. So there's like a lot of like
There's a gray area that
Well,
allows.
it's pro fucking. The thing is that
Yeah.
NoFap is pro
Oh,
fucking. No,
okay.
here's the point of NoFap.
not
Okay,
celibacy.
this is intertwined.
See, I
with-
was just like, no, man,
No,
that
no, it's not-
cannot
it's
happen.
not
It's not a
related to-
celibacy
I was
thing.
getting.
It is.
It was making
related,
me real uncomfortable.
No,
there.
no. Yeah, it's related inextricably with involuntary celibates. It's totally, and hence why I was trying it.
yeah, it's like the exact
yeah.
opposite.
Yeah. And so that's the thing. It's actually trying to get you, because the whole premise of it is that as a person who's a chronic masturbator, you tend to not concern yourself with trying to find a mate, because you have completely sexually satisfied yourself and resigned yourself to jacking off to pornography. Right, and there's some truth to this. This is why it's captivating to some people, because if you can get your nut, then you don't have to worry about putting up with a woman. Okay, and so if you, and this is relates to transhumanism, if you can live in the sexual simulation, right? If you can consummate all of your degenerate, kinky sexual desires by looking at pornography, let's say you're really into watching women being degraded, you can watch a woman doing anything, okay? And then you can get your nut and be on your day with it. But the thing is that there are sexual lusts that are innate within humanity. That goes without saying. But there are some things that are completely taboo to the point where they should not be fostered at all. Okay, those go without saying. But the thing is that it's trying to get people to force themselves to get in a situation where they can have sex with a human being. Because this is for people that have sort of mental hang-ups, physical hang-ups that present themselves from trying to take that plunge into. Or like they have a sexual relationship with, or they have a committed relationship with someone, but they don't have sex because they're just jerking off, right? This is what it's for. But also at the end of the day, I think that there are some people that have more psychological problems that prevent themselves from being in a stable, committed relationship than just their masturbatory nature. Okay, like you can have psychological disturbances that prevent you from being in a relationship with someone, or you're just a fucked up person, or you're just a bad dude, whatever it may be, right? That prevent you from being in that situation. And I feel like people put too much weight on NoFap instead of actually self-examining themselves, and that's what NoFap's trying to do. It's trying to get
I was
you to
just thinking
examine
about
yourself.
that too. It's just
That's
like
a good point.
Yeah.
I would if somebody sold it to me in that way, but yeah, just this idea that people think that that's the one thing that's stopping you from reaching your full potential.
It's very Freudian in a way,
yeah,
isn't it?
no, and
It's like everything is sex.
I was gonna say if I remember correctly, I remember reading that. And I was always told that it's a very healthy thing to do. I mean, just like with anything, though, I mean, you know, we can become addicted to just, you know, drinking water, like,
Right.
and that, you know, can get to a point where it's like destructive, even though it's something.
Yeah, you're
you know.
hyperhydrating yourself. And
Right,
it can fuck some
exactly.
shit up. Yeah.
So it's like that brings up. So then with
It all
that
comes
idea,
down to obsessive,
Mhm.
an addictive personality.
right,
Right.
like what, like you must be, you know, I mean, maybe you're running away from something, and this is like, or you know, you just want to, you know. So I was, I don't know, this came up on my feed just yesterday, on my YouTube feed, and it was this like retired porn star, and he was telling his story apparently. So this guy, I mean, like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I just don't watch like mainstream porn. But
You're not familiar
You're
with
in
the
that
actor.
underground
Is that
I'm
what
not
you're saying?
familiar with it. Apparently, he like won a lot of awards, like the AVN and all that. So this story is that this guy, at the time, he was pursuing an acting career. This was probably in like the 80s, early 90s. I don't remember. But yeah, he just was sort of just in the LA scene, as where it always begins. All stories like this begin, and so he was trying to, you know, like land an acting job, and then like, you know, nothing was landing, and then I don't know how he heard, but somebody like gave him a number to call, like in case he, you know, if he wanted real work, and he was just, you know, skeptical at first. He was like, what the hell? And eventually, I guess he just got to the point where he was like starving, like literally starving.
Shit.
He had no money. And so he like picked up the phone and called this number. And it ended up being, you know, an acting
Porn
gig
producer.
in porn, yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently, just from the jump, he was just like, "Damn, I'm good at this." And so he started like raking in the awards. Like, I don't know what specific, you know, the I mean, what you know, like it was like best actor, and I mean, it must have been like something like, you know, with, you know, physique or whatever.
Yeah.
He became like a celebrity in that world, and then he talks about how just quickly he quickly reached the just, you know, hit a wall, or it hit the roof, you know, on that, and he just had no enjoyment of it, and he just essentially he just felt like a prostitute, like he felt like, you know, like this is just a labor now. This is just, you know, I'm doing this, essentially just giving my body away to work, and he couldn't hold down any like actual relationships with people, and you know, people, you know, like women. He started feeling like he wanted to marry and like eventually settle down, but I mean, he saw them as just pieces of meat. I mean, it was just part of his, you know, everyday life.
He's
to
totally
the point
desensitized.
where it's so totally desensitized, and he's totally just like, I'm just getting older, and you know, I think he was just very aware that, you know, you have a shelf life, like when you enter that business, and it's just like, is this, you know, like this is all I mean, he got it. It came to him at the right time, but then it almost just got to the point where it's just like,
Yeah.
way too much, you know, on him, and so he was forced to quit. And he talks about how everything just like, you know, improved from then on out.
Yeah,
Like-
there's a lot of themes of normalization of this going on, especially nowadays, especially with relation to third wave feminism, of women saying, "Oh yeah, I just like having sex. I just like fucking. I've always been good at fucking." And have you guys seen any of the No Jumper interviews with porn stars?
No, I stay away from those.
I watched them out of sheer curiosity, and needless to say, I mean they're vapid, pretty much stupid people. But
For those that aren't aware, No Jumper is a podcast where a lot of the, you know, like your favorite rapper, essentially.
Yeah.
Like that's where they,
Underground rappers.
yeah, all these underground, you know, so-called underground
Underground, quote,
rappers,
unquote.
you know, they most likely
Yeah.
were interviewed by this guy. He goes by Adam22.
Adam 22, yep.
And he's established himself as just a big, almost just like a cultural figure, yeah. You know, if you haven't had your No Jumper interview, then you know you're not.
He's the new Letterman, huh?
Essentially,
Yeah, in a
yeah.
way.
For like what those things were for like comedians almost.
Right.
Like talk shows and stuff like that, where people went on there to like use their comedy.
He finds himself at the intersection between the porn industry and the rap industry, and he's like creating a platform for these porn stars to talk about their thoughts and feelings about this, right? And they assure all of their consumers, because countless of their fans, I'm using air quotes again, their fans are like interested in like fans for the 5 minutes they're watching the fucking video before they nut and close the fucking tab. But they're reassuring people that they don't feel like they're being taken advantage of. They're reassuring people that they don't feel like they're essentially prostitutes for the video. And they say that they just like having sex, and this is a sort of free market a free market taking advantage of their desire to fuck, and it just happens to be on camera. But in reality, we know from stories like you told us earlier that the people that are involved in this, they realize that once they lose their attractiveness, and unfortunately with women it happens very, very quickly, and if they can't transition,
if that's all you have,
if
that's all you have to offer
that's
the
all you
world,
built up for yourself, is your
then
attractiveness.
your future is going to be looking rather bleak.
Yep, and you probably guaranteed have not been saving very much. You've probably been splurging it on whatever.
No, see, and that's a big problem right now with how these rappers like the way they flex. And so I mean, if you don't have like, that's why when we brought up Lil Pump before, that's why I was just kind of like, these kids are having fun, and that's cool that they're not really associating themselves with like the established genre of hip hop. Like they say themselves, we don't even. I mean, that's why they get compared to like punk rock and all these different things. They don't sound punk at all, but it's like the attitude, the mentality of doing something different with something that's already established, but like taking those elements and then doing something different.
Right.
And so with Lil Pump, that's what I was kind of wondering about too. It's like, that's fine and all, but when these record labels come in and then they like, their whole thing is like, we got to make a product out of this guy. We got to,
how can we market this?
Yeah, how could we market this exactly?
They like encourage them to like continue going down like this like splurging decadent road.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you're not smart, if you're just like a child or whatever, and it hasn't been properly, or it has been properly explained to you even, and maybe you just don't understand, and like, next thing you know, you're not making any, like
Right.
if you want to eventually break out of it, like a lot of people, they end up worse off because they find themselves in even worse debt.
Right.
And like they were just spending like, because they thought that it was never going to end.
Right.
But it's like,
it comes quickly. Life comes at you very quickly. I'm sure we've all experienced this in the 20 some odd 30 some odd years that we've been on this earth.
I hate to like even speak like this because it's like, it sounds like I've given up, hope entirely, but I think that's why I appreciate, it makes me appreciate people who actually work on their craft, and like, do things on their own.
People with a sense of artistic integrity.
Yeah. People that do things, DIY and like actually put in the effort to like make it happen. On their own. And so like that like honestly gets all my respect, and those are the people that I'm like actually listening to and like enjoy listening to.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, man, a lot of work ethic goes into this. It's not something that's like, the label just threw a check at
made by a
me
committee or something like that, right?
Right.
Like the Star Wars films, or even like this Drake album, which I haven't listened to, but I'm sure like every Drake album sounds like it's made by a fucking committee. Speaking of commercialism and hip hop and music and everything like that, do we want to shift gears to the Travis Scott thing?
Yeah.
Bring us into that.
Okay.
Some commotion going on online. I saw it on Twitter, but then it like, I saw that it originated on Instagram. But there's this model. She's a trans woman.
She's transitioned from a man into a woman.
I'm never gonna get
never
it
gonna
right.
get it.
Yeah, I know. I have the same problem. I just guess.
Yeah. Okay. Well, see, I was trying to do that, but like sound confident.
Right. This is Amanda Lepore.
Okay.
She's a model, trans woman model,
Yeah.
and an activist and personality. She's 50 years old.
Okay.
So she's been in the game for a minute.
So what? I mean, because this is the first time being introduced and to her. And did you know if she's had any prior work? Did that?
So
come
yeah,
up?
she was like an OG club kid. So like in the late 80s or early 90s, this was like a group. I forget where they're from, but it was just a group that was famous for being famous. They would frequent clubs. I think just in New York. And a lot of these characters would just be favorites among certain clubs. People would go to these clubs, flock to them to see their favorite club kid character. Just like any other rapper going to a club or something like that. Except the club kids didn't necessarily have any talents, except they just were who they were. And Amanda Lepore was one
So
of
I can
those.
see where something like that would like draw her.
Yeah, definite spectacle.
Yeah,
type.
you know, just put yourself out
RuPaul
there.
was also.
Yeah, RuPaul was a famous club
so if
kid.
people are familiar with
Definitely.
RuPaul, which I'm sure a lot of people are, then it's like, yeah, you know, it's you get.
It's
what we're
depicted in
dealing with
that
here.
movie, Party Monster, the rise of that whole movement. It's super interesting. If anybody's interested in checking out that movie.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
But I
I've
think
never
that
even
has a
heard of
lot
it.
to do with this situation and her perspective on it.
Okay, so the situation is that Travis Scott, a very popular. I'm sure he's been on the radio, but I just don't remember any of his songs. I don't know if you guys.
I know of the songs off of Days Before Rodeo.
I know he's
made-
had some singles on the radio, but
Yeah, I can't remember. Oh, Night Show is what, or what was that fucking shit called? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I think it's called Night Show or something.
do you
But
remember how it went?
It's like something night show.
Okay.
yeah, it's
I
like,
thought so.
it's like they popping Zane, he's popping Zane, he's at the night show.
Yeah.
It's like it's like shit like that. It's like
All right, so it's this auto-tuned one of those auto-tuned fellas.
straight up.
He was like signed up to
does,
Kanye's label for a while.
yeah, sounded
okay.
good music as a producer.
Okay, so do you know if he still is, or if this is supposed to like catapult him?
That's right. Yeah, he's releasing.
So
his
he's
new album,
releasing a
correct?
new album that he's been like hyping up for a while now, and it got to the point where I went on social media, which my social media preference is Twitter, only because it's like, you know, I don't know. There's a bunch of interesting people on there. Everyone's on there really, except Stevie.
I'm not on there. I'm not.
Oh, you're not on there anymore. Okay.
I was on there, but I'm not anymore.
I
Yeah.
don't have shit to tweet.
Yeah, me neither. But I mean, a lot of the shit that goes on there is pretty funny. But anyway, so this controversy came up. Oh yeah, so the name of the album is Astro World, and this album he's hyped it up to the point where like people would just like say drop Astro World even on like other artists' like Twitter accounts. It'd be like a meme almost.
Yeah.
To where it's just like,
Has it been like in the cookings for so long?
yeah, I guess so. Like I think he talked about it like a long time ago.
Damn, it's
And
ruthless.
he
You guys remember like LimeWire? You getting music
course.
and it's like a fucking Soulja Boy album.
yeah, no, he was very smart in
Like,
doing
dude,
that.
Yeah. Same
That never
tactic.
happened to me. I just got a bunch of
it happened
viruses
several
and,
times.
yeah,
you know.
viruses, dude.
and
Bloggers
and weird like
Oh.
weird videos.
It's like a Radiohead album.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, this is
No
Soulja Boy
shame.
here. Come check out my new album.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Soulja Boy's
imagine that
DJing
shit.
a Radiohead album.
Yeah.
He's got DJ drops. Hey yo, it's Soulja Boy. Ooh. Yeah,
And so this album is coming out, and he released the official album cover, which, you know, everybody's been hyped for the album, and they're just like, what's the album cover gonna look like? Well, they finally got a glimpse of it, and it's almost just like a scenery from like
It's like a carnival or something.
it's supposed to be from what I saw, it's like representative of like what he grew up around. Maybe he was
He was a
part of
carny.
the
He
was a
circus
carny,
or
yeah.
something. He might have been a carny.
Carnival
yeah.
folk.
I thought the album art looked kind of
Small
tacky.
hands.
Like the CGI
Yeah.
of the
It's like his-
actual
his,
fucking
His
statue head. looks
head,
awful.
yeah, his head is just like this.
Oh yeah, that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
I like that.
I didn't.
You
It
didn't?
It looked lame. It looked like
I kind of liked it.
The color was like cement. Like it looked like
It looked like gold.
it didn't have
It
like
looked
any,
like
grandness to
a
it.
sarcophagus, an Egyptian fucking
Yeah, I can see
sarcophagus.
that.
or
Yeah, see,
something.
that's what
Very,
I saw.
like,
He was
royalty.
going for that for sure.
Yeah, I feel that.
But anyway, regardless of what we feel about this album cover, this is what fans saw, and so he released this final, the official version. But then this person comes out on Twitter, and they put up their version of it, saying they were hired to model for it. And the official version has like these three women on there,
Yeah.
right? They're like modeling.
Yeah,
and,
they're
like,
in different various poses.
Yeah, they're
mostly
just-
nude.
yeah, definitely.
There's it's like there's like a
sex sells.
contortionist. There's like a woman with her tits out inside of like some fucking glass like tank. There's like
yeah, so it's like what what you'd sort of expect for that sort of carnival show type. So yeah, this model, right? She posted on Instagram what she received as the album cover, and this was before the final decision was made, which was to edit her out, and not anything else that I can see, but just her specifically. And so then the argument becomes, well, why?
So she had originally posted her image that she was given.
Which is the original image that these.
Right,
Yeah,
the
she's
original.
just like-
And she said
when I just Googled search the album art, I saw like 3 different album arts.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, I
probably
think-
because the album hasn't officially
Yeah,
released
exactly.
yet.
Yeah, there's gonna be different versions.
But in her picture, she was just like super happy to have been involved. Just not sure why I wasn't included in the final version.
Yeah. So she put the question out
So
there.
yeah, it was just the stated question.
But then
And,
her like fans
it
and
went from
people,
there.
yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people. She's probably gotten a lot of heat from like the Kardashian family's fans and stuff too, because it's just a social sensitive issue to begin with.
Right.
But a lot of people felt that she was representative of that community, just seeking acceptance, and sort of they're living like vicariously through that. They want somebody who they may not look picture perfect, or like
if you think about the reason why they would remove this model, there's like it comes down to a couple of reasons, and it's either A, they didn't like the aesthetic of her in it, just like from a very
somebody
black and white-
Rosie brought up the argument that like she drew the attention away from.
Yeah, that she drew the attention
She
away.
upstaged everybody.
That
She everyone.
she wasn't fitting in, like she didn't fit into the theme of the album art. Or B, they were removed because the final call is that people would recognize her and she was trans, and
Right.
that would bring negative attention relative to that.
I have another thing that it could have been that it just dawned on me earlier was that the actual subject matter of the carnival, the carny, the freak show. If you were to keep her like, okay, so you send her the invite, hey, like you're a model, fucking come out to the photo shoot, do the photo shoot, and then you have the final version you're about to go with, and then you're like, oh shit, we're about to put a tranny in a freak show. Like,
Interesting.
maybe we
Interesting
should
point.
pull this, and then you
Well,
still
see,
send
why
her
wouldn't
the
they come
image.
out with
You
an
still
official
send her the
statement?
image though,
That's
because she worked.
part of the
She has
controversy
that for
is
her
that they
portfolio.
haven't come out with an
Well, maybe they don't know
official
what the fuck they're
statement.
doing, because this is what Stevie is saying is that they miscalculated the outrage, because they
Right.
thought that there'd be outrage because they're equating
but-
transsexuals to a freak show, but in doing so, they effectively
So they
have
just don't wanna
silenced
admit
the
to
voice
it
of
at
a
all.
trans person.
Yes.
But
Which is-
this trans person willingly subscribed to the idea of it by like joining the
Right.
project.
Like she just took it because it was a chance to get on.
Right. And also, calling it official is disingenuous, because the official image is totally up to the
the album art isn't even out yet.
right.
There was a teaser for the album art.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that could have just been like, this is like.
Watch it come out tomorrow. It's a completely different image.
Yeah, it could be something else. Well, I saw, like you said, you were Google searching the image, and there was another image that popped up.
Yeah,
which
like,
had
oh,
kids on
this
it.
is causing so much controversy,
Yeah.
so let's just
Yeah,
let's scrap
fuck it.
this whole idea altogether.
Yeah.
That would actually be the smartest move, in my opinion.
Or like
It would
even
be.
like in like you know how like when you order like get a CD, there's like the little booklet of all the art and everything
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
There's like one of
Throw
the
in the
same
extras.
statue with like kids in the day.
Yeah,
and then there's
exactly.
one
I
at
saw that
night.
one.
What if they do like an alternate, just
There-
like that, like an alternate cover?
There was this one weird one with like a roller coaster, but while I was Google searching it, Astro World was a part of Six Flags Houston, and they demolished it in October 30th, 2005. So relative to like maybe like the lore of the idea of the album, that might be like
That's interesting.
what Travis Scott's
I like I said,
idea.
this all just came up, and I thought it'd be really interesting to talk about. But now I'm gonna go back and like do proper research on this because this is all like sounding super interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
like Travis Scott was actually molested by a transsexual at Astro World in 2005.
Holy
Yeah, all right,
shit.
so we're
that
I mean,
adds
like,
another layer to this.
yeah. So we're just digging up layers here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like how I see this at first, like when like you told me about this, I was like, oh, that does seem like almost transphobia. How they were like just specifically removed the trans model, but a lot has been revealed to me.
Yeah.
More about it.
Well, the more you ponder it, it's just like, man, there are levels to this. It's not a clear
never
cut.
black and white.
No,
Ever.
it's
Yeah.
not.
And it might be like, but also the true answer behind it might be very simple as well, and it might have just be as simple as like they didn't like her in the image. They didn't like the
Yeah.
whole like finished product, so they wanted to remove that specific part of the finished product, not for any other sort of political or social reasons.
Well, I think that Steve's point was really pertinent because it's like it literally could have been just an administrative decision that they were trying to be more
but I mean,
sensitive.
are they? I'm just curious about like their contracts and how they work. Like, are they not supposed to be notified if like, let's say like for instance, a company that like moves on with someone else, and like they some companies don't, but like they normally
Like because she wasn't used
send you
in the
send
image
you
that
an
they
email
notify her?
saying like here
That
exactly.
you can't post the original.
But
image
or
and
did
then
she
complain
just
about
see
it.
the cover and it's like she finds out and she's
Well, it seemed like she was trying to gaslight people. Like, here's the thing, okay? First, the initial publicity of her. What was her name again?
Amanda Lepore.
Amanda Lepore. The initial chance of creating publicity again by being on the album art of Astroworld, which is going to be a album that sells millions of copies, guaranteed. It'll be up on the fucking billboards for sure, right? So there's the initial chance of that. But upon finding out, maybe you're right, Jim. Maybe she did get an email saying that she wouldn't be included within it, and she's trying to be like, oh wait, this potential publicity opportunity has been taken away from me. So now she's trying to gaslight the LGBT community by saying, I have not been included in this. I don't know why, maybe couching it and saying, oh, I was initially excited to be a part of this, and now I'm not included. I don't know why. Maybe even if Amanda Lepore doesn't subscribe to the position of like, LGBT or whatever, she realizes the way that the cultural winds are shifting, and she knows that the winds will be in her sails if she comes out and says, what the hell's going on? Lefty
if it was
get,
if it was all intentional, then I can see that totally being
Just by posing the question, she did enough.
exactly.
Everybody else did the work for her, and then in the end, when the dude was like, "Look, you literally just upstaged everybody. It was to eye drawing."
Well, she
and
took it as like a compliment.
she edited her original post and added that like the direct quote to her post, and was like, so it's almost like it's squashed right then and there. But in doing so, just posing the question, it puts it on the proper platforms to give her the most ground for her, suggested argument, whatever that may have been. And like I said, she got the work and maybe didn't end up on the original image, but now she has the publicity that she was after. So
Exactly.
It doesn't really fucking matter at the end of the day.
In the end, yeah, exactly.
What about so like you've talked about it, like the negative publicity that this is creating, and what about the potential of this being a industry plant simply to get more Spotify views by the left-leaning people who want to dish out hate onto it, while there's already the Travis Scott fans that will give it
They're gonna give it a hate listen.
millions of listens. Now there's gonna be people listening to the top singles and everything.
That goes right in with the club kid mentality.
Exactly.
It gives somebody to almost hate in a way that's like it's gonna bounce off us as club kids. So go ahead and try to fucking hate us, like snarl in our faces. We want you.
Well, we
to.
saw what happened.
These are the ones you want to hire if it is something like that.
Well, I'm having this idea. You were saying this is kind of like a fresh happening incident, like kind of started happening last night, right? Or,
yeah. I started noticing it last night.
Like I feel like Atlantic Records or whatever the
Epic
Records would be taking care of it, like either releasing like a press release or like
they have plenty of marketing and PR people.
Yeah, they would have controlled this if they
I
wanted
just remember
to.
this is the same label that Death Grips trolled.
Yeah,
with the No Love Deep Web.
Yeah, they got signed by them, and then they like basically just blew their advance
Literally
money.
showed their cocks to them.
Yeah, like they made the album cover like the drummer's dick. Just like on display.
That's because Zach Hill's Epic.
And then they like just they didn't even wait for the because the label wanted the album to like roll out at a certain way, and then they just like put it up as a torrent for their fans to download for free.
Yeah, fuck it. Fuck the label.
And then they just like left the label. So it's just like I don't know. It's funny that they go through stuff like that, and then it's like this sort of controversy is just they have. I mean, as far as I know, they haven't even come out with like an official like statement.
And Travis Scott is definitely not against like edge, like an edginess to him, even to his like character.
Yeah,
I mean, like one of this meme just happened like earlier this month, but it's or there was just one before, but he's like on stage and it looks like he's like screaming and he's got the microphone up. Yeah, like he's just like really intense.
So are you implying that Death Grips is farce and they did that all the No Love Deep Web controversy is all just a huge beyond like a part of the Epic Records?
They're still signed to Epic Records.
Yeah.
It's a big publicity stunt.
So much like you're gonna have me like going into some like rabbit holes tonight.
They very well could be. I mean, the whole thing is like they captured that sort of like that punk ethos.
Okay, so there was this other one that he put up.
Travis or Death?
Travis Scott. There was this video that just came up not too long ago, and he was like destroying something. I want to say he was destroying like a TV or something.
I think you're thinking about NBA Young Kid.
Okay.
He's like smashing a TV in like some green room or something.
No,
NBA
it wasn't
Young Boy?
green room.
Yeah, Young Boy.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was. But speaking of,
but a good rapper nonetheless.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a thing that like a lot of rappers are doing now. Because Lil Pump did the same thing.
Yeah.
There's footage of him and like at his house, and he just smashed the TV. So it just goes to show you, what's being, put.
That's the exact rockstar mentality. Literally destroying.
Right, just destroying
property.
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I come at it from this perspective. I think that there's equal likelihood, and this is me trying to be like radical centrism or whatever, right? There's equal likelihood that one, this was a PR miscalculation, like Stevie fucking suggested, or that this is intentional record label gaslighting, trying to bring about controversy for an album that's coming out quickly. Because this is the same thing that we've seen in the rap game. The rap game is totally full of fraudulent publicity. This is something that's been going on and on again. And it's actually been proven that there's legit shit. Like, I remember back in the day when Joey Badass and Lil B had a beef on Twitter, and everybody was like, "Oh shit, Joey Badass, Lil B." They literally fucking faked it. They literally faked the beef. Like, there are actual DMs that Joey Badass showed about them saying, "Oh yeah, bro, you want to fake a beef?" And that's totally what happens.
It'd be the easiest thing to do.
It's so easy.
It's the easiest fucking thing.
It's a whole boy cried wolf situation again, because that's what makes me even like question these things. I start to wonder, like, these could be very, very well could be very genius marketing ideas.
Absolutely.
Just like, look what happened with the whole Kanye thing.
For sure.
I mean, he caused a lot of controversy, but do you think his album sales lacked at all? I mean, people came out to his that random like release party he did in like the middle of nowhere in like the Midwest.
Yeah.
when he dropped the album
Fucking
like
Brandon Wardell was
They
at?
2 months
attended.
ago, whatever. Yeah,
Dude,
It was
it's
like
the
Wisconsin.
stunt is fleeting. People forget the stunt, but when they go and look back and they search the album, the stunt's not gonna fucking pop up.
Right.
The record sales, how many times it was fucking listened to, is gonna pop up. Just like when you follow anybody or look at anybody on any social media, anyone notable, you look at how many followers they have just to kind of gauge how successful they are almost. So if you can pull off a stunt knowing that they're going to forget in a couple of years' time, but when they look back at the album, it's got this many fucking listens or sales, then they succeeded. So it's like almost, how can we come up with even if it's like blatant, as long as it passes somewhat under the radar, then you're successful.
I also
Yep.
wanted to tie this into like another big controversy that well, it's not so much a controversy, but it's just this weird thing going on with, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Boonk,
Yeah.
like Boonk Gang.
Oh, Boonk
Boonk
Gang,
Gang.
whole lot of
Yeah.
gang shit. Yeah.
Yeah, so this guy went viral, you know, just doing these super destructive things on camera, just like on the whim, you know. Apparently, you know, nobody was in on it, but he would just, you know, do these outlandish, like,
Yeah.
you know, he like there's this footage of him just like walking on like a busy, what looks like New York, or like it could be like San Francisco, but it's like, you know, some busy road, and like, you know, there's a stand of like somebody, you know, that's set up, you know, stuff that they're selling, these, you know, precious items and stuff. And he just like slams him. He likes walking. He's like rocking out, and then he just like slams himself into it, and then all that stuff just gets like just dispersed onto the road. People are just driving over it, and he just like picks himself up, keeps walking, and it just like went viral. You know,
Yeah.
this sort of behavior. Where he's just like doing some, just some like really like destructive things in public, and so he established that character, and he admitted in his No Jumper interview, tying it back, that like he came across. Okay, so he had an early an interview where he admitted to that basically being part of his marketing, like to get views. Like saying essentially he's a character, and this is, you know, what he's using to like make music. Like he wants to make music, and he that's his real dream.
Right.
And I mean, this ties into like Joji and all that stuff too. It's like all these artists are coming out, and it's smart, I feel, is using viral marketing, like doing something where you like Post Malone. Like
I just saw a 69 Tekashi
Exactly.
69 interview where
Everybody
he's straight up saying
it. Nobody.
He's like,
they're
these
they
are the
don't- they don't-
results of hanging out on a
they're-
Saturday night. Like, you guys
Yeah.
are the one that sensationalized the shit, and I'm fucking
Like in a
cashed
way,
in
he's
on it.
exposing. Like if people actually thought about this stuff, but you're actually exposing the whole system and how it works.
For sure.
You know, and
But most consumers are too oblivious to even realize what's going on.
Right,
They don't care. It doesn't
yeah,
change
they don't
anything.
care. That's
Yeah.
the thing. You could try to tell them, they don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Music is something that they put on to work out to, or most of these consumers aren't going to go to a live show. Let me put it that way. There's a
and people
small
who do
demographic
go-
of people who are
I'll-
seeking out live music like that.
Yeah.
Let alone
no, they're just going out
breaking
there to
down
turn up.
what's behind the scenes of their favorite artists. I want to say most of the people that are interested in that are musicians themselves, or at least interested from a journalistic aspect.
Yeah. Or they
It's
care
all
about the art
studying,
form.
right? Yeah.
Okay, so the only reason I brought up Boonk is because he's established himself in that, you know, in that way. And then he, like I said, he did an interview where he like broke out a character essentially, and he sounded like intelligent.
Nice.
And he was just like saying, you know, hey, this is like, I played y'all. And this was like, I'd say like a year ago. I don't know. I'm just estimating here, or guesstimating, but he recently did another No Jumper with Adam, and in this one he is what appears to be barred out, or like on, you know, excessive amounts of lean, or just drunk as hell. I don't know. You'd have to watch the interview or watch whatever clips you could find. But he barely makes any sense. He could barely even hold a conversation. And, he could have, I mean, I don't know the context. He could have been partying, whatever. But it's just very depressing to watch. He is just so, even Adam looks so irritated. And he's just sitting there like.
Think of it this way, though. Think of a method actor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting to.
Right?
This is exactly why I brought this up. So we're talking about this. And then just 2 days ago, this video came out that he's in a car and he's just like filming himself and he's like sweating excessively and it looks like he's been crying. And then he films like his leg and you see blood pouring out of his leg. So there's a wound on him and it's apparently coming out that he shot himself in the leg. And so now there's this whole discussion on like what's going on with what's he going through. But I feel like the dude came out before, he laid out his business plan before, and for a while nobody was talking about him.
Yeah.
So it's like
I can give less of a shit about this guy. If he wants to take 1 million bars and fucking OD, so go ahead. Like my introduction to him was watching him go behind the counter at Dunkin' Donuts and get a shit ton of donuts and walk out.
Yeah.
And then I saw another one where he robbed an Uber driver.
What do you mean? Oh,
That's who you're talking about?
Yeah.
Boonk?
Okay.
Oh, you seen that guy? Yeah.
I've seen his stunts.
You've seen that shit.
Yeah, his stunts is like this is the guy we're talking about. So he would just like hop over like at a KFC or something, or like some fast food joint.
We don't, that gunshot or whatever could have been from anything.
Or
But you
it
could
could just
spin
be
it.
another
You could
level
spin it for
of
something.
of controversy that he's building up, like
Right.
to draw those views in.
It could
Yeah.
be just like Jackass too. They were like if you're gonna go trash a store, you pay off the store owner. You tell them, we're being at fucking this time with our cameras. We're gonna set the cameras in the back. You always notice the cameras are set up.
Yep.
So it's like this isn't just
Also, in the state of California, you need to get a waiver.
right for the release and shit.
I don't know. But that's that's out there. If you guys want to do the research or follow that, you're more than welcome to.
But yeah, your point here is that people create publicity stunts for the sake of marketing their stuff that is not doing as well as
Classic red flag
Exactly.
fucking scenario.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
benefits to just misunderstanding and confusion.
Totally.
Well, let's end this with like a segment.
Yeah.
Like who would win
In a fight.
in a fight?
Ronald McDonald or the Burger King?
Ronald McDonald.
who's
because
the
Wait, we
Burger
need
King?
we
Is
need
that-
we need a
so
third
that's the,
contender.
Irish.
We need a third contender.
Jack.
Jack? Okay.
Jack in the
Shit.
Box.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still
Jack.
holding it down for Ronald McDonald because
Wait,
he's
so
an
when you
Irishman.
say the Burger King,
He's
you
an
mean the guy
Irishman,
with
yeah.
the big old mustache and
The crown and
okay.
the robe.
In
the
the
big
suit?
old head.
in the suit or the guy behind the suit?
The character.
The character.
So
Oh
Ronald
man, there's
McDonald, the
layers to
character,
this. I don't know
the
if I
Burger
can
No.
deal with
Okay,
this.
I know. I'll
The
tell you this
Burger
right now.
King.
The Burger King.
Jack
know,
is
I
out of the
still-
contest. Jack's out.
Really?
Entirely. Because
Really?
here's why. He's a businessman.
That's exactly
He's
why
wearing a
I
suit.
might advocate for him.
Oh, you think he can just whoop some ass and
It's not just fist to fist, you know.
So it's like he's
what would
gotta-
this businessman have? What would this king have? What would
Okay.
this
He's got
McDonald
hitters.
have? Yeah. What would happen if they were like to gather like high noon type of situation?
So
you know
we
what I
got
mean?
the
Like, what would
king.
happen?
He's got knights, right? The king's got burger knights, and then we got
McDonald.
He's got the whole circus behind his ass.
He's got the fucking Hamburglar.
Right,
Like-
and he's got criminals on his
Oh,
side.
man,
Like
I hadn't
this
thought
motherfucker
that deeply
steals
into it, but you're
burgers
right.
regularly. He's got mutants.
Who's the
What the
purple guy?
fuck
And if you're
was
stealing burgers,
He's
who
Grimace.
knows, you know,
Grimace?
if
He's
you're
a
stealing
fucking mutant.
burgers,
I don't know
like,
what the
you
fuck
know
Grimace
else you're
was.
who knows what else you're capable of?
Yeah,
And then we
if-
got
if-
Jack.
He's like the counter.
He's like
to the
Agent Smith.
Yeah. He's like James Bond.
And like think about
like
like
the
all those
fast food.
commercials where
Yeah.
like Jack like looks around the room and his wife has like a Jack in the Box head on.
Yeah.
It's like he's like literally like he's like creating. He's like a vampire creating
Oh,
lesser Jacks.
shit.
Like he can turn.
So he really is like Agent Smith.
Yeah, he can turn McDonald
Fuck.
into a
Creating
Jack.
lesser
Oh man,
He's got Jack Thralls.
what if he is the actor that plays Agent Smith?
Yeah.
What if it's actually him with the
That'd be so tight.
Yeah.
So he's just like, that's
That's
his,
the red pill.
he's leading the
That's
double
literally when
life.
you take the red pill, like you see, like Jack take the helmet
Yeah.
off. It's Agent Smith.
Oh.
You like wake up the next morning, you turn on the TV, and he's like, "Hello."
I'm gonna have to
Hello,
go with
Neo."
Jack on this then. To be honest,
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
in the end, corporatism wins.
knights and burger knights and criminals and circus.
I mean, like true,
really touch
real, like
Agent
behind the scenes.
Jack.
Agent Jack.
Yeah.
I still think that you guys are really underestimating the power of the Irish, because I think that Ronald McDonald.
Yeah, like what powers does Ronald McDonald?
He just
possess?
gets
Yeah.
fucking
He gets
blackout
so
drunk on
drunk,
whiskey.
you can't touch him.
Yeah,
Damn.
Like
he's just
God.
daddy, man.
I was like low key
like
afraid
he's
of Ronald.
almost he's a daddy figure. He's a
Thank you,
Yeah.
McDonald, Mr. McDonald.
You don't go
There's the McDonald
unappreciated.
Foundation where you like go and donate your bottle caps, and then like you like give like a black kid in like a foster home shoes or something.
Yeah. A nice T-shirt.
Yeah, a McDonald's T-shirt. If I was rich, I would pelt the homeless with quarters. I'd scare them away by throwing like handfuls of change at them, and then
Oh
like,
shit! Damn.
yeah, I'd be like, "Ah."
That's actually that's sort of like a challenge though to them. I mean, it's like a
If you can get through the
sort of-
gauntlet of coins.
Like, should they
Yeah,
be insulted
exactly.
or thankful? Like,
Yeah,
that I'm
exactly.
giving them
Like you
coins?
decide.
Yeah.
That's like it's like a Saw game almost.
I have like one of those like mini marshmallow launchers where it's like pressurized, but it shoots like quarters, like, like it's like leaving
Damn.
welts on them.
Puts the massive welts. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some like
Like, is it
real
like a
Bruce
concussion?
Wayne shit. Like if I was Bruce Wayne, I had that Bruce Wayne money. I would like maybe still be a bat, but I would have a money gun.
Yeah.
Like straight up, like
Yeah, I want to have a
money.
chain gun of quarters.
Yeah,
that I
dude.
shoot at the homeless.
I would take
mounted
that
on my
to
gun.
I would take
Yeah.
that to
Right
like
in
the
my car.
strip club.
That'd be
and
so
that would
much
like,
cheaper
the
than
worst.
bullets.
It's like it's like a
Bullets
Every
are fucking
Wednesday
expensive.
afternoon,
it's like a chain gun that you
dread.
have to like crank it, like fucking just mowing down.
Fuck yeah,
homeless.
dude.
You can like break windows.
What you got to do with this idea
Yeah.
is you got to invest in the revival of bum fights.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh.
there we
Yeah,
go.
yeah. So you like what you do is like you round up, several of these
That's just the Roman
derelicts.
The guy who did bum fights was actually just Caesar.
Let's get
I
the
can't
lady
believe I'm
that
feeding
sings
into
in,
this idea. But
Let's get the lady that sings in downtown Modesto.
Yeah.
We'll get
Damn.
Fight
We'll
Kid
get
Guitar.
Trash Bag Man.
Yeah.
We'll get them all. We'll round them up, and then we'll
And,
do a death match
yeah, and
where the winner gets pelted with quarters.
Yeah. We promise them like great treasures or something. And we just fucking end their life with our quarter gun. We send them to the fucking hospital.
Yeah, it's like all
Oh,
four of us. Like
shit.
it's like a mountain
where they get
arena.
stacked with like
Yeah,
a
Coliseum.
massive like hospital bill.
yeah.
And it just defeats the entire purpose of.
Damn.
Yeah.
Trash Boys.
Hey yo, it's Soldier Boy. Ooh.